Hey guys, what's going on? My name's Lockie and today I am back with my Formula 1 Austrian review. If you guys haven't watched this before, basically I talk about the practice, qualifying, the race, and then I go on my predictions for the next Grand Prix. Just early predictions without hearing any of the news. I also do prediction Grand Prix. And so yeah, you can check that out as well, and be sure to subscribe if you enjoy this video. So to start out with, we had practice, which was the interesting. I'm gonna be honest with you guys, didn't actually see practice or qualifying. I was in Sydney and I was out with for qualifying and third practice. I was actually out with a friend, had an amazing time, and so yeah, so that was, I wasn't able to watch it, but I did, and I didn't get to see practice because I was out with family. So. I did get to see the race, I didn't miss that, and that was an awesome race. So, basically practice, from the highlights I watched, Verstappen crashed twice because he had suspension damage. I think Williams reported to have suspension damage. Rosberg crashed out in FP3 and Vettel crashed out, and both of those, Vettel and Rosberg, had to take a new gearbox, so they took a 5-place grid penalty for the race. So that's why qualifying was a bit jumbled up. Going into quality, that's it for practice, by the way. As I said, these are just going to be quick highlights. I want to talk a lot about the race and going on into the next, into the rest of the season, because this could implement a huge deal. So quality, first session. There was a red flag Kvyat caused. His suspension broke. His suspension broke because of these new curbing systems. They seem to be quite brutal and very damaging. So yeah, his suspension gave way and he was unable to do anything. Caused the red flag. So then, yeah, he started from pits, and yeah, that was playing kind of Q1. I think after that as well, then his teammate had a technical problem with his engine, like electronic problem, and so I think that was a yellow flag. I believe that was in Q1 as well, so they couldn't really improve. That's why there wasn't really any surprise knockouts. There might have been in the next one, because there was some surprise knockouts in the next one. And then, after going into Q2 kind of a lot. As I said, Sainz may have had his engine go, which caused the yellow flag with a minute to go when everyone was doing their hot laps. So yeah, he may have been Q1 or Q2, but either way, there's some surprises there, and I'll get into that again. And then Q3, apparently it rained and then dried out, and it was very much you had to take a risk to whether you go dry. And we saw some people, this whole quali basically put a lot of people out of position. And I will tell you how everyone started. So this is how everyone qualified, and then I'll tell you their actual starting grid. So it was Hamilton, Rosberg, Hulkenberg, Vettel, Button, Raikkonen, Ricciardo, Bottas, Verstappen, Massa, Gutierrez, Pascal Wehrlein, yes, Pascal Wehrlein in 12, Grosjean, Alonso, Carlos Sainz, Perez, Magnussen, Kvyat, Halianto, sorry, what did I say? So from 15, Sainz, Perez, Magnussen, Palmer, Harianto, Kvyat, Ericsson, Nazar. Now, where people actually started, it was Hamilton, Hulkenberg, Vettel, Button, Raikkonen, Ricciardo, Rosberg, Bottas, Verstappen, then Vettel, then it was Massa started from pits, so he actually didn't start, but that grid place was still taken, and then the rest, I don't think anyone moved anywhere. And Kvyat also started from pits. So the two of them started from pits, which wasn't very good for them, clearly. But that was the actual thing. So Pascal Wehrlein started 12th. And that led to an interesting thing. So it was on the start. They did their formation lap, which they always do, and then they were going to their grid boxes. So by the way, I'm talking about the race. That's done with quali. So going into the race, do their hot lap, going into the grid box, and Pascal Wehrlein had to leave the box in front alone. He drove past his box and went into that box, the one of Massa's, and he then reversed back into his grid spot and started the race. And believe it or not, didn't get penalized, because in the rulebook there is nothing saying he cannot do that. So he basically got away scot-free, and he had a pretty damn good race. So I'll start from the beginning of the race and I'll work my way through to the end. You might hear some paper. I'm starting to write these down now, so I got a bunch of pages on the race. I should also mention Hulkenberg on the front row is damn good. Didn't have a good race in the end, but damn good. So I'm just skipping through some notes. So we get into the race. Also I should mention, Button is in P3. He started P3, which is also really good. Yet again, another car out of place, so that will also play. It's also... Sorry, I know I'm saying I'm getting to the race. The top five different constructors, because it was Hamilton, Hulkenberg, Button, Raikkonen, and Ricciardo. So 5 different. It's an awesome stat to have. So going off the line, when Hulkenberg gets a bad start from P2 off the line, Button actually goes into P2 as well, and then they went around. Button, sorry about that, my phone should be on silent. Button went around. I think it was it 7 laps. He held second, and then one person passed, and everyone passed him, and he got swarmed. But he did a really, really good show. He shows he's still got the speed. Maybe going to Williams isn't the worst thing. I still think it is, but we'll have to wait and see. But it's definitely helped his chances. Kvyat, who I said started from pit lane, he crashed so hard he had to have a new chassis, had a problem, and was out by lap 3. And then it was kind of like, it was a lot of here and there overtaking, battling, but it was kind of nothing until lap 20 when Hamilton pitted for his new tyres, which was the Super Soft. Rosberg pitted on lap... No, sorry, he pitted on lap 21. Rosberg pitted on lap 11 for his Super Soft. And so Rosberg actually jumped Hamilton in that, and Hamilton's pit stop was quite slow as well. And the Rosberg... I'm not going to talk much about Hamilton and Rosberg to the end, because there's a lot to talk about. Raikkonen pitted at lap 21 and actually lost the Red Bulls, which was a shame. Hulkenberg pitted for his second time on lap 25. The car didn't look set up for the race or good with the race. Magnussen got investigated for more than one move, so Pascal Wehrlein, he actually got a penalty. Pascal Wehrlein tried to pass him, and he kept swerving across the road to stop him, so he was under investigation. Did get a 5-second grid penalty for that, or 5-second stop-go penalty. And then I think it was lap 26, Sebastian Vettel's tyre explodes down the main straight, which caused a safety car, which was definitely interesting. That threw a wrench into the works. Then it wasn't really clear who pitted because they drove through the pit lane, so I couldn't actually tell you who did. But definitely threw up these strategies and what may work and what may not. The one stop obviously had a better chance. This is the third race where Vettel DNF'd, so that is not good. Yeah, it's not. That was his championship battle's kind of out. He would be a hell of a lot closer if he hadn't DNF'd. So unfortunately, I think that's him out of the championship. I still say Ricciardo might have a chance because we are going to Red Bull tracks, and depending on what Mercedes do coming out of what happened this weekend, will define whether Ricciardo can catch up or not. So Hulkenberg and Grosjean got penalties for speeding through pit lane. Rosberg got debris, a ton of debris yet again. I'll get into that, but he got a ton of debris from Vettel's tyre because he was right behind him, so that affected his aero. Hulkenberg pitted for the third time because he had a weird vibration in the car. Then Massa retired from the race. Here's my other sheet that I said I'd have to get. Alonso, Hulkenberg retired, more for strategy, but they also had brake problems. Perez crashed out in the last lap. So, that's kind of everyone else's race. Now I'm going to get into... sorry if you can hear this. I'm trying to set it up so I can actually read it. But I can't, unfortunately. So now I'm going to get into what happened with Hamilton and Rosberg. So to give you a quick briefing, Rosberg started 7th and Hamilton started 1st. So, Hamilton... Because Rosberg pitted on lap 11 and Hamilton pitted on lap 21, Rosberg had gained enough time to catch up and pass Hamilton in the strategy. Oh, I have to yawn. I don't know why. But yeah, Hamilton lost out to that. So then it was a safety car. Hamilton obviously had fresh tyres, was kind of managing the gap, attacked a couple of times, but didn't really do anything. One stop wasn't going to work, and they also had enough of a gap. I knew they could get the lead back from Raikkonen and Verstappen in the end. So they went, okay, we'll pit them both. I think that was lap 55. Hamilton pitted, and lap 56 for Rosberg. Because Hamilton was in the lead and got the second pit stop, whereas typically it's the first person. So they reversed that for Hamilton. What happened, so when they did that, Rosberg and Hamilton, so Rosberg went on to the super soft tyres because he did not have any soft tyres left, whereas Hamilton had one more fresh set of soft tyres and he went to those fresh set of soft tyres for 20 laps. Now you might be like, well, why did Rosberg get the better strategy? The 20 laps, it was not better to be on those super softs, as evident we saw in the end. So even Hamilton was freaking out a little bit, but that ultimately did not matter because, so I got to move some more paper around, because he would actually end up catching Rosberg and winning the race, which kind of spoiler, but I'll get into because there's a lot of talk about what's going on. So going down to the last lap, coming out of turn 1, they're right behind each other. Coming out of turn 1, Hamilton gets a really good exit and Rosberg made a mistake. So going up into turn 2, I actually did a move, I don't know if I've done it yet or not in this footage, but Hamilton pulls to the left hand side of the road. So you got to come out of here, they were battling up through here. So Hamilton passed on the left-hand side, and Rosberg was on the right. And Hamilton had pretty much got in front of him by the corner. Rosberg had brake problems, but I don't think he really had bad enough brake problems to where he can blame it on that. But Rosberg tried to run him wide, which fair enough, you're allowed to do, but you have to give him racing room. Sufficient racing. You have to leave one car's width, not 1.5. One, so you can touch tyres, that's fine. So Rosberg was never going to make that corner, didn't even try to turn in for the corner, turned in way later. All these ex-racing drivers who have raced here before said he deliberately turned in really late and ultimately crashed into Hamilton because Hamilton had to turn in eventually. He was not going to run wide, he was going to turn in for the corner because he was entitled to his room. He turned in and basically hit Rosberg But I wouldn't want to use the word hit. He turned in and Rosberg hit him because Rosberg was not turning in. Rosberg then broke his front wing, leaving the corner, and Hamilton ran wide. Now, when Hamilton tried to rejoin the track, Rosberg cut him off again, and they actually touched again. And so that was kind of a interesting point in the series, or in the season it's going to be, because this is the second time they've collided and nearly had a double DNF. Ultimately, Rosberg would fall down to 4th place, and actually got a 10-second penalty, which I think he very much deserved, and got away lucky with that. Because he was investigated because his car was severely damaged, so driving with a heavily damaged car, and causing an incident. Even though it was with his teammate, he still has to get these penalties, which, thank God. So he got a 10-second penalty, but Ricciardo was 14 seconds behind, so he only went up to 4, and didn't get one for the damaged car because it was the last lap. So that's fair enough with that. That's the interesting point with it. I mean, a lot of people it's going to be talking about for the season. I think this is going to swing things more Hamilton. And now, when I was saying before with the championship, whether the circumstances apply to whether Ricciardo will be able to catch Hamilton and Rosberg for the championship. The reason why I say depends is because if they apply team orders, Ricciardo will not, because they will guarantee a 1-2. If there aren't team orders, he has a very good chance. So, do it again. Because typically they're battling so hard with each other, they don't really focus. The drivers don't really focus on anyone else around them. And they say they do, but when they put their helmets on, it's about each other. So we're going to see interesting there. Last time we saw a damage, like they're not taken out because that was earlier this year, but the last time we saw, I'd say, one where they both finished and they both saw differently opinions. Because in Barcelona, Hamilton came out and said it was his fault, which he didn't have to, but he said it was his fault. This one, Rosberg says it wasn't his fault, it was Hamilton's, because he was entitled to the inside of the corner, which, yes, you are, but you have to leave your racing room. So, that was that. So, last time we saw this was Spa in 2014, and Rosberg had the momentum until the incident, and the momentum switched to Hamilton, and Hamilton went on a tear and win. He's only 11 points in the championship behind. So, we'll have to wait and see. And as I said, it kind of leaves the door open for Ricciardo, and possibly Verstappen. I also want to mention, I want to say that it was fantastic for Mauritius to get their second ever championship point, but a championship point. I think that was fantastic drive by Pascal Wehrlein. Yes, 16 cars finished, but there's six cars he should have been behind. So yeah, it was great to see them get a point, well deserved, and definitely going to financially help them out. Now, Sauber would be nice if Sauber gets a point, because I don't think they'd have any. So I'll let you know. So the way the results finished is Hamilton finished first, Verstappen, Raikkonen. Well, sorry, I had to burp again. Rosberg, Ricciardo, Button finished in 6th, which is a great result for McLaren. Grosjean, which is a great result for Haas to finish in 7th. Sainz, which is a good result. Bottas, 9th, bad result. Pascal Wehrlein, I already talked about, great result. Gutierrez, Palmer, Nasser, Magnussen, Ericsson, and Halianto all finished. So only 16 cars finished, 6 cars DNF'd. Perez crashed out on the last lap due to brake problems, which also threw some speculation to whether when Hamilton passed Rosberg again, because he did pass the Rosberg, he passed under yellow flags, but because Rosberg was going slow because he had significant damage, he had the right to pass, which was always the right, was going to be the right. So Perez, Alonso DNF'd. I actually don't think I heard why. Might have been brake problems, probably to save engine. Hülkenberg, brake problems, probably to save an engine again. Same with Massa. And Vettel had his tyre blow up and crashed out. and Kvyat DNF with the third lap. So they were out. Going into the championship, so it is Rosberg to Hamilton, where there's 11 points. I can't do that math off the top of my head. But Vettel and Raikkonen are tied on 96. Ricciardo is on 88. Verstappen is on 72. So they're the more crucial ones. It's kind of a 1, 2, 3. Perez is in 8th. Kind of battling with Massa there. But we go down. Alonso and Button, it's 18-13. Pascal Wehrlein with 1 point. And Stoffel Van Dorn with 1 point. So the only other driver, which he's not even driving for McLaren at the moment, but damn well he'll be in that car next year. So Sauber haven't got a single point. So it'll be nice to see them get some points. But yeah, so that's my Grand Prix. We are at Silverstone this weekend. So that's going to be interesting. A very interesting track. Red Bull might be able to pull something out of the bag here. Because tracks that they don't think they can, they typically can. I mean, they got second in the Austrian Grand Prix, and they didn't think they'd get above 8th. So they should be able to pull something in the bag. Probably Mercedes weekend. We can see Force India up there again, because they've got pace. Their momentum is their way. So we'll have to wait and see for that. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. Sorry if I was a little quiet. I am a little bit tired, I'm not gonna lie. But with this race, I know I was a little bit aggressive, but I felt I had to be because I was on the McLaren seat. I chose Button as my driver of the day in this. I would have picked Pascal Wehrlein, but one, he's not in this game, and two, that Mauritia car is so bad. I would have to turn the difficulty down, but if I turned it down even to expert, I would win the race as him. So I kind of went, I'll just go for Button, so it's a more interesting race. That's why I chose him, because he did have a fantastic race to finish in 6th, and actually gets lead, or not lead, but have second for a few laps. So yeah, so it was a great race, some solid racing, did a 1-stop, didn't think I'd be able to do that ever in this game on this track. But yeah, so that was that. So I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, smash that like button. Subscribe to see more, and let me know on your guys' thoughts and opinions and your predictions for the Silverstone Grand Prix. I'll see you guys next time.